Okay, first of all, positive and negative may not be the best words to use. Isn't it really pleasurable thoughts versus painful thoughts? Okay, so that's very different. The ego always wants pleasurable thoughts. But at the ego level, you don't get pleasure without pain. That's the problem. And the ego hates that. But the more pleasurable, the more painful backlash there's going to be. That's just a given. But it's much easier when the painful feelings are there to want to transcend. And then when you start feeling pleasure again, you say, well, maybe tomorrow, let me go back to the ego. Right? And then you got to go through it again and again. And so the ego, because it goes for instant gratification, when the pleasurable thought says, oh, come, open the fridge and get that thing that I forgot before, and right, eat it, or whatever it is that you want to give you the pleasure, then there will be the backlash. So it's at that moment when you are facing the impulse to do something that you think will bring you pleasure, but you know if you take a second that it will bring you suffering in the long run. Remember the three women that Buddha named desire, satisfaction, and regret? Right? So in that moment of desire, if you remember her real name is regret, then you may act differently and say thanks but no thanks, or turn it into a much more transcendent kind of thought, and a much more subtle understanding of the nature of what that desire is really about. And maybe it's about divine love and not about lust, or not about some other kind of immediate gratification. And it's much more in a context of the infinite and the divine nature of who you are. That brings you to something that is really positive, not positive, negative, simply on the horizontal, but at the vertical. And that enables you then to withstand the impulses of desire that will bring suffering. And remain in that immovable spot that's beyond both pleasure and pain. So that's where you want to get. That's the Buddhahood. Right? The Buddha nature does not react to either stimulus.